How did that feel knowing you innocent and knowing your daughter was manipulated to do this? That she probably didn't know. She couldn't know the real consequences of it. Just how did it make you feel though, man?
I put it to you like this. It was a situation where it was confusing. It was, like I said, a lot of anger.
And if you didn't have an attorney, you'd be in jail.
Yeah. Because, see, you have to remember, I have a custody attorney, but I have a criminal attorney as well. So I'm paying two different attorneys. You see? So for me, it's a situation where I'm mad. I'm pissed off.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Because what happens is, see, for me in my case, my daughter told me that it'd be one more thing that you tell me I can't do. Right. Me and my mother gonna get with her attorney and have you put in jail.
Your own daughter tell you that. Your biological daughter, your blood daughter.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with having trauma. We all do. You need to do something about it. Come on, unpack the trauma with it.
We just split everything 50-50, you know, no worries. And the thing of it is that it was very difficult initially, not being in a relationship with a person. You know, I had only known her, 30 days before she got pregnant. You know, didn't live in the same town, any of those things. My thing was to be fair because, you know, like Mike said, the child has two parents, and I think they're equally as important. And so when I came up with my game plan, I came up with something that would be in the best interest of our daughter, giving her, even though we're two separate people, two separate households. And that was it. You know, I went on, and because I knew we would never be together, I got married because, you know, more than just the fact that I love my wife, but it was a situation that, you know, a child deserves to see that. You have to make a sacrifice somewhere. And that's what I did. But unfortunately, initially, it just went back and forth, and it was really, really crazy. 4 different attorneys.
You spent money on 4 different attorneys?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Because if you're not going to do the job, move aside. I'll find somebody else.
That's right.
Because my thing with the courts, and this is one of the hardest things, is that I would tell anybody, when you're dealing with custody, keep your notes, investigate, do things, but at the same time, when you're going to need those things, because when we go to court, you're right, the deck is stacked, but what happens is, I was fortunate because even though we lived in 2 separate places, one Bay Area, San Diego, that's extreme,
right?
But I was involved from the time my daughter came into the world, and I made sure that I try to give her some balance. But unfortunately, other things came into play in regards to her mom and my communication being taken through, being sued, you know, just because she got pregnant.
You know what? I mean, now, if y'all hear the artists, if you're tuning in, these are all solid 3 men. To me, these are solid brothers. And then I'm hearing, like, you're blessed financially that you can switch to 4 lawyers. I know a person right now, they wish they can get another lawyer, but they can't because financially just don't have any. It's been so much already.
Well, what happens is 3 attorneys almost broke me. But the 4th one...
You had a total how much you spent? Rough estimate?
About $80,000.
Wow.
Money for me wasn't the issue. It was the fact of getting justice.
Yeah.
Because
I hear you.
What happens is, and even now...
Because your name, because they talk about your name, make you look bad. Yeah.
Well, you have to understand, in my case, I had allegations, restraining orders, you know, allegations like I'm, you know, beating my daughter, crazy things, right?
Well, talk about what type of allegations? What allegations you had? Because Maurice was saying they were saying he was drinking and smoking.
Allegations that I would pick my daughter by her neck and choke her and beat her. What else? I punched her in the stomach. Anything. Well, the last one was I ripped her ear.
Like Mike Tyson, something bit the ear, something.
No, I didn't know. But I bit rip. And the thing of it is that I was fortunate enough because, you know, like Maurice had said, my daughter was my world, and I was her world. And what happens is, when you have a case like that, you have a situation where the child becomes affected.
Yes.
And the child is made to tell the lies. So now I have to deal with the adults, but I was more concerned about how my daughter perceived me. Because we know with children, even though they may know, it's very difficult for them to communicate the truth because they have the pressure on them, you see. And in my case, when you have doctors, lawyers,
therapists.
Well, no, doctors, there are therapists involved, but doctors, lawyers, and I can't say judges. I won't say that in my case. But when you have doctors, lawyers, and individuals who are seeking to, you know, like I said, realistically, I shouldn't be sitting here. I'd be locked up. Because when a child makes an allegation, an adult can make an allegation, and they'll say, okay, where's really the burden of truth? But I find that they really don't want to question the children as much because they tend to say, oh, this child is not going to lie. And the mother convinced the child, so it becomes believable. Some children are the best actors you ever seen, you know? But when you really get down to the brass tacks of it, it became out of my power to even deal with it. So, for me,
I know you're getting choked up too.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay. But for me, it was a situation where I knew better, and all I wanted was the courts to have the information,
the truth. Yeah.
Because see, for me, I was at the point where, see, in 10 years, I'm done. Right. But as they say, turn it over to the Lord, He'll work it out. Yeah. And that's what I had to do.
Man, all right, man, this is good stuff. Now, let me ask you, dig a little into this. How did it affect the relationship with your children?
It was horrible because.
And then we get Maurice next. Then Mike.
What happens with children, because my daughter was being badgered so much, she took on her mother's persona. So however her mother felt, she interpreted, meaning the disrespect, all the things that under normal circumstances, like I told my daughter, you can't find a man in the street that'll walk up to me and talk to me like this. Never. But here you are, I have to accept it because you're my child. See? And also knowing that the child is really innocent. They are. To a point, I had to hold my daughter responsible because I know she knew better. Because I've been there since the time she came from her mother's stomach. But I had to also release it because if I didn't, you can develop bitterness and anger, even towards your kids, you know, because you know. But how do you deal with it? Because guess what? The child doesn't know any better. It's the adults. So I think that with a child, you just have to be extra sensitive to what they're dealing with, but also you have to incorporate what you know as a parent, okay? Because what you know as an adult, and you know this child doesn't know, it's your job to translate to them and help them understand. Because so many times with bitterness or whatever, we back away. See, I backed away. I hadn't been around my daughter probably 8 months. I couldn't go around her because I couldn't trust. Because every time I saw her,
so a new accusation came up.
And the last time I saw her, she was with me for 1 day. It was like, I want to go with my mom, being disrespectful, all this stuff. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to fight that. I'm going to take it to your mother. No problem. I'm not going to go through that. But then I get an allegation. Now, this was November. Police called me in January.
Months later,
to ask me about an allegation. Because what happens is, in my case, these allegations were going to bring me a prison sentence.
My God.
Because you can't take that lightly. Cannot.
How did that feel, knowing you innocent and knowing your daughter was manipulated to do this. That she probably didn't know. She couldn't know the real consequences of it. Just how did it make you feel, though, man?
Well, I put it to you like this.
Get them to Mike too.
I put it to you like this. It was a situation where it was confusing. It was, like I said, a lot of anger.
And if you didn't have an attorney, you'd be in jail.
Yeah. Because, see, you have to remember, I have a custody attorney, but I have a criminal attorney as well. So I'm paying two different attorneys. You see? So for me, it's a situation where I'm mad. I'm pissed off.
Yeah, of course.
Because what happens is, see, for me in my case, my daughter told me that it'd be one more thing that you tell me I can't do. Right. Me and my mother gonna get with her attorney and have you put in jail.
Your own daughter tell you that. Your biological daughter, your blood daughter.
Yeah. And this is a child who has been, and I'm seeing she's being damaged by her mother, and I'm seeing the influence. Initially, nobody cares. Even family, because family is more or less like, the baby wouldn't do this, or the baby wouldn't say that you did this and you did something. Give me a break.
Oh,
give me a break.
Yeah,
Are you kidding?
Did something, man.
Oh yeah, we did something.
So for me, it was like, because again, when you're looking at the whole picture of it, if my daughter didn't turn around and say she lied, I'm not here.
So what I'm hearing, that you guys, I feel like you're just judged by everybody.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So you got to come in there dressed right. You can't just have a bad day. They're gonna look at everything. Is that how you felt? You felt broken?
Yeah.
How did it? Now yours different. Your kids were out of state, right?
They were out of state, and even she had another child by a man she married after. I don't believe in, everybody has a different view on stepchildren, stuff like that. To me, if you are siblings with my kids, then you might as well be my daughter.
That's
too.
it.
When I used to send my kids stuff, I used to send their younger sister things too. I used to get cursed out. That's not your daughter. Don't you ever send her anything? And I'm like, what does that have to do with the problem that you might have with me?
Right.
Have the guy get on the phone and
he whoop 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 and all
yeah.
that.
So when that happened, it's been a few times that I was almost locked up in Virginia because I would just go straight to the house and walk straight through the door. And where's he at?
Yeah.
Where's he at?
Okay.
Because guess what? He's gonna get all the mouth that you've been talking. He's gonna receive what you should be getting. And then you have a man sitting playing video games with his friends in a bedroom, and I'm looking at it like you are dysfunctional. Now I'm way past dysfunctional. Like this man said, I come from somewhat of a dysfunctional situation, so I never wanted to have my children in this situation.
Right.
And most men die for their kids.
Right.
That's true.
I'm not all of them.
Right. And that's true.
That's true.
You have to. It's a lot of sacrifice in yourself. You have to almost die just so they could live and be happy. You have to take a back seat. I had to, because child support was so much. I would hustle, get other jobs. Soon as they start taking out child support, this job, guess what? Can't work here no more.
Yeah.
Go get another job somewhere.
Right.
Wow.
I'm so fluid and facet, and these were decent paying jobs. Imagine paying child support and then paying all the medical, all the dental, everything, and then you're supposed to live. You're supposed to have a car note. You're supposed to have a decent place to stay.
Right.
While somebody's sucking you dry.
Oh my God! I'm just keep on that story. No. We ain't no apologies here. We just the format we talking about. I was thinking about going back, thinking about a person. Again, financially. So I've heard men they say I don't even work because all on the table because it's just they feel like the men feel like when they go to custody they don't take into consideration the roof of their head, paying bills, and these are real stories I even heard today. Like they want me to pay for the daycare.
Yep.
And they want me to pay for this, and then they only want to give me like 1 or 2 days a week to see the kid on top of that.
On top of it.
I was like, it's just like, it's almost feel like the men feel like it's an uphill battle for the most cases. This is true stories, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You're thinking something.
Well, I've seen that in many cases.
Yeah.
Like I was sharing prior, one of my cousins, he's deceased now, and he had 6 kids, you know, different mothers. And I never forget, he had some type of an issue, but he went to the doctor. He worked for Kaiser, and he went and they said, "Oh, you got a spot, but we guarantee you it's 99% not cancerous." And so he told me, he says, "Randy, I'm going to Texas to see my baby girl because her mother moved to Texas." He said, "But hey, I just paid my last child support bill. I don't have no more child. I got all my kids paid for. I'm going with you on vacation next year." He died 88 days later, pancreatic cancer. So my point is that when you're seeing all these obstacles, and I've been blessed enough to watch other people go through things and be able to listen and internalize some of the things. And that's why, even with my daughter, I pushed, and I think I would have did it naturally, but I pushed even harder in certain areas to make sure she was stable. Because unfortunately, you know, in my case, I didn't know anything about the mother. So I had to learn as I went. You see, and
because you was more of a one night stand to a degree.
To a degree.
So
And even with that, I've said this before, I took responsibility for what may or not have been my actions. I just knew I was at the crime scene.
Right.
But the reality of it is, I didn't think that should have been a burden that my daughter should have to carry. You see, but unfortunately, like Mike was saying, when her mother began to date and do different things, then my daughter's around this person or that person. And again, we weren't in a relationship, and I didn't have a problem with her even being with anybody. But I'm a real stickler for children being exposed to things.
Yeah.
Let them be children, because this is the time they will never get back. You will be an adult. If you live to be 80, 62 of those years are adulthood. You only get 18 to be a kid. So that was my perspective. But unfortunately,
that's a good perspective. That's good. Yeah.
But unfortunately, it also was that you know, I made it a point, even though I was getting different challenges here and there, I made it a point not to react.
That's good.
Because
that's good.
I knew I had a bigger focus in mind, you see, and I knew that if I got off track, it was really going to be over. And at that point, my daughter really wouldn't have anybody, you see. And the thing of it is, like I said, again, it's just a situation when you have a child who's looking at especially a father, you're looking at the father and you're disrespectful and you don't even know why. You're just doing what your assignment is. And the hard part is that to look at a child that you love and adore, you know, we love our kids, and to have them turn around and show you hatred, and you still got to show love, because love is the answer in that perspective. But I think that, you know, for me, it was just like I said before. Unfortunately, I was in a situation where my being non-confrontational was perceived as a weakness.
You can't win.
Can I?
Yeah. Come on.
Let me chime in.
Maurice, if you want to chime in, let us know too.
I don't want to seem like a nut. Before that little altercation, when I used to call the house to speak to my children, she would answer the phone, and I said, "Can you put?" His name was Darnell. "Can you put Mr. Darnell on the phone, please?" And I told him, I said, "Hey, you know, thank you for being there with my kids. Thank you for watching over my kids." I used to give that respect,
right?
And to be disrespected over the phone and with my kids, and you know,
it took you there.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're watching this show today, but we want you guys out of this to see that, man, this is rough for brothers, for men to deal with. We assume that they good. That's why I think they put all the love, I want to say, towards the woman, because the man, you good. No, it's not good. Right. We hurting too. We dealing with the kids looking at us different, and the kids picking side, and you could tell the conversation station that sounded like something they would say. Yeah. So yeah,
and it affects your future relationships also. Yeah. Like, I'm married now to a beautiful lady, and I held off on having kids because guess what? I I don't know what you're capable of. Because guess what? I didn't know what the last one was capable of.
Right.
I never wanted to feel that pain again.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guard myself, and I probably did myself more of a disservice because I love kids. I love family. To have that missing in your life, it's almost like you're in a box. It's like a purgatory. You're in a box and you're watching everybody else. And I'm not saying everybody else's stuff is perfect,
Right.
but I lived through everybody else.
Yeah.
Through friends and other family members and stuff like that. My brother has 5 kids. I believe 6 now. I'm not sure. A little bit of a Rolling Stone.
5 for sure. Questionable.
Yeah. So, my mother goes to get them all the time, and she wants me to come down to Santa Clarita, and my nephews is asking about me and stuff like that. And I go see him, but it hit me because he was saying Uncle Mike, Uncle Mike, Uncle Mike, and he gravitated to me so much. I don't want to get close because I don't know when he's gonna be taken.
Ooh.
I don't know when he or my niece are gonna be taken. The time that I put in, I want it to be of some substance and some value because my brother has issues with these women, and usually family members, you pick a side. You're gonna be my brother. It's usually never right or wrong. You don't talk to her.
If I stop talking, you shut everything down.
Right. And I told my mother that she's gonna have them next week, and I told her, I said, you know what, I'll be down there.
I want to go back to the piece where you said because you're afraid they might get out of my life, so it stopped you from having that meaningful relationship with even your niece and nephews.
Yes,
because that trauma you went through.
Look, I'm a all in. A no-end person. I can't be way. And if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it.
Right.
And usually when people see what you're doing, if they're not doing it, then they like to pull the plug.
Right.
Because it's a control factor.
That's what it is.
It's a control factor.
That's
and
exactly.
See, the thing is, I don't want to. The best thing I learned about control, I used to raise Akitas. And they're very territorial, one-person dogs.
It's a dog. Okay, I'm like, what's
I was about the car. I was like, yeah. I realized it must be a dog.
So
big dogs, right?
Stubborn, one-person dogs. Very loyal, very protective, so forth. You're only as good as what you've been taught. So I was taught that. Guess what? Dogs outside. Listen to them, whoop them up till they get right. I had a first female dog ever. She passed last year. That was the first dog that I ever decided to just drop everything I learned about training or anything. I just became its friend.
Okay.
This dog would do anything. When I say anything, my wife tried to give it medication one time and she wouldn't take it. And I said, give it. She was holding her mouth, doing all kind of stuff. I said, look, that's not going to work. I said, give it to me. I said, look, sweetheart, I need you to take this. First, she moved her head. I said, look, sweetheart, you have to take this. She looked at me and she took it. See the thing? Yeah. See, that's the thing. The communication and the trust. And once you have that with a child doesn't know what's happening. Why mom is not talking to dad, or why your nephew, why he can't come over anymore, or he disappears. Abandonment is the worst thing for a child. Abandonment, and I'd rather not be there for him to feel that than be there part-time, than them to grow up and like, what happened to Uncle Mike?
So in your mind, you really think not being there, they won't feel abandoned?
No, I think so. I think, but
not true though.
Yeah,
I want to help you with that because it's not true. But it feel like, well,
it's kind
maybe it's better. I mean, like,
But because I was going to say, even for me, being away from my daughter as long as I was, it was difficult because, in my daughter's mind, like she said, I want anybody to be my daddy but you.
Your own daughter told you this? That you've been raising from birth.
Woo! So for me...
Now I see why you said, you know what, I'll catch you next 10 years.
Right. I see your intent because, here's the thing. If it meant for me to walk away, for her to have some type of normalcy, or at least not have to deal with it from me, because I know that she's getting an earful. And this is the thing. My thing is, I feel it's a sin to teach a child against a parent. Yeah. You can't do that. And unfortunately, when you have children who are experienced and exposed to these kind of things, they're like clay. It like for me, I had to step back, and mainly, because even though I stepped back for 8 months, I still have 50% custody. See, the restraining orders and all that stuff got lifted, thrown out. I still have my custody rights. But as I told the judge, I cannot even use those at this time because it's a pattern here. Each time I go around, I got a new allegation. So I have to step back. And that's what I told you. I had to protect myself because the thing of it is, like I said again, if I don't protect myself, then all hope is lost for the child.
So if you protect yourself, it also probably put a gap between you and your daughter.
Well, it did.
To a degree, yeah.
It put a gap. But see, here's the thing. I knew if it was to be, I had to let go. See, because my daughter lived across the street from me. So imagine seeing your child playing in the yard across the street from your house, at your grandmother's house. See, my grandmother, she's deceased, but
yeah,
uncle let her live over there, whatever, the long and short. But I have to look at a child that I raised, that I have to look at across the street, but I can't talk to her.
Did you find yourself crying a lot when you see her? Or angry?
Well, I found myself being angry.
Yeah.
Because, number one, I'm big on loyalty.
Yeah.
I'm big on loyalty. Yeah. You can't be loyal and honest with me, and to have family members get involved in my situation.
So you felt betrayed by family too?
Of course. Of course. But the thing of it is that what I had to do was talk to the people that I knew would tell me if I was wrong. The man sitting to the right of me. Who didn't care? He don't care about hurting my feelings if I'm wrong.
Nope.
See, he don't. But that's who we are. He'll tell you I'm as blunt as it gets. But at the end of the day, if I did not do what I did, I had to believe in the process. You see, because
that's good.
Because what happened for me was it challenged my beliefs. It challenged my manhood. It challenged my pockets. It challenged every core being of me to deal with this issue. See,
See, we hear a lot about the fairness. Clearly, if anyone listening, paying attention, there's nothing equal or fair about these situations. And the emotional manipulation that's easily taken without any facts, and that's slander. Look it up, Google it. That's slander. No facts, but everybody base everything. So we're already on the negative end of this situation. Now, my situation, I didn't get to any legal or anything but because of the divorce and the separation, I saw the changes. I had a couple of divorces, and so the first one I initiated because of things that was going on,
right.
and they were able to tell people that it was me. And
I hate to say, and people go automatically like, you must have did something.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's always
she wouldn't lie on you.
Right. Wouldn't lie, right? So I go through with dealing with the first, and the children were younger, and so my oldest was told to lie. So I know what that is like. And that caused trauma for her because now she's choosing. She's lying to her dad. Right. She knows it's wrong, but she has to lie to me. And so that caused trauma and emotional. That caused emotional trauma and psychologically for her growing up against her mother. And even as she got older in her maybe 20s, she told me, she said she was angry at me for staying. I'm like, wow.
Your daughter was...
Yeah, she was angry at me for dealing with the craziness that I was dealing with from her mom. And I knew she said that from a child's mentality in place. For me, I'm loyal. I think you told me, Rodney, you loyal to a fault. I've been knowing your whole life. That's who you are. I said, man, I know. That is like a strength and weakness at the same time. And when from a love situation, you have to go to where your heart says you can't go no more. And that's how I am. So for her tell me that later, it's like, well, I was angry at you for staying. It's like, wow, you would think it'd be just the opposite. But no, she was upset with me. So that was her thing that she was holding against me because I stayed through a lot of that craziness, that, embarrassing stuff. I've been spitting my face. I ain't Jesus. And it hit me so bad at the time, and this is the first marriage, that I paused. And that wasn't even a reaction from me. I'm pretty passive and like right on. I was so taken aback. In my mind, instantly, I thought, I wouldn't even spit in my enemy's face.
Right.
And I've done nothing but try to help you the whole time I've known you. So, that kind of stuff. So it went to that, and that caused trauma for the child because it does affect the children. It does. And then how you being viewed. And so then the next time around, now I have a son, and so separation come, and I can relate to this pattern of being the friend and trying to be the fun parent to get them to like you or love you more. So really, you're not parenting. You're trying to be the friend instead of being a parent. And then men, that's our nature. We look at it. I'm being a parent. So nope, can't do that. So no, so they, the water's gonna go the path of least resistance. That's how water works. So hey, the fun time parent, right? Just stay up late as I want to, eat whatever I want to eat, right? All huggy and kissy, and then not come to me, hey, put those shoes in the corner over there. I'm the bad guy, just for doing regular parenting stuff. And then you see the view, and I think I didn't even realize, because I was still, I mean, we have a good relationship, with the moms. I mean, we do. I can talk to them anytime. But just thinking how I noticed some changes in my son, he was being emotionally manipulated.